Hello, hello, hello. This is JC Phoenix 5 back from the ashes with another Devil May Cry 3 double S run through. This time we're doing mission number 3, and it's double S on accident this time. And the reason for that being is I don't actually plan to get double S runs anymore. And that's purely because it takes a lot of time and effort in order to do so, and I just don't have enough time for it. Like if I did, then yeah, I'd love to. Yeah, man. Because that doing that stuff is like so satisfying, and, like so cool, man. But what I will do instead is I will at least get an S rank, and I'll also give you guys the tips and tricks you need in order to get the double S rank yourselves. Because really, it just boils down to patience and hard work. Once you know all the tips and tricks and like the optimal ways to deal with situations and really good strategies. But hey, I mean, this game is pretty free flowing. So if you find your own strategies that work for you, then go with those. I mean, feel free to tell me about them, and feel free to use mine. So the strategy I use for mission number 3 is Dante's Office Front twice. That's because I don't have the Red Orb Crystal before the Cerberus boss fight. And that's because you only get one of them per save file, and I chose to use mine in the beginning so I can get all my abilities back, because when I got the HD version, I just like really wanted all my moves back. Shoutouts to MGK270 in order to, for letting me this game for like 4 years. Alright. So in order to deal with this area, I find you just combo this guy first while charging your double trigger explosion, because then you wait for all the grunts to group beneath you and you just explode on top of all of them, killing as many of them as you can. And then when the bomb dude shows up after you kill all of them, you just use Ebony and Ivory, because when you do that, it gives you the timing so that 2 out of the 3 grunts will spawn, and then he'll explode the moment 2 of them spawn, usually. So then you'll hit 2 of them, and then the third one won't actually get hit, and that's important because a stronger grunt will spawn, which is the red dude. And I don't want to like call them by colors, so that's like, yeah, I don't want to do that. But we're a friendly channel here, okay? Politically correct, whatever, right? But if you don't kill all 3 grunts, then he won't power up. So then he's just easier to deal with because you just combo him and kill him in like one more combo, right? So he should be showing up soon once I kill this fellow. So the strategy for the next area, actually we'll talk about that when we get there. So just Ebony and Ivory here, and boom. Sometimes they'll block it, sometimes they won't. If they don't block it, they'll just straight up die. But if the grunts do block it, then they'll take half health. So you just combo this guy, take him out, and boom, there we go. 2 of them will power up, whatever it's easy. We'll just leave, honestly, you don't need to kill them. So for this area, the best strategy I find is just run away. Because dealing with living statues is not easy on DMD mode, especially if there's 2 of them at the same time. And we'll get into that a little bit deeper in the mission number 4 video, when you actually have to deal with them in the living statue room. So for the next area, the Love Planet room, Agni and Rudra is actually really important in this mission because of Love Planet and well, just for the strategy I chose to use. Strategies, sorry. It's because for Cerberus, he's obviously weak against fire, naturally being an ice monster. And then in this next area here. So for the 3 initial enemies that spawn, you want to kill them at the same time. And that's because for the next enemies that spawn, it just changes, the order of, enemies being powered up and stuff like that. So if you kill them at the same time, it's actually a lot easier to deal with them. You can actually get a triple S combo there, or here, but I messed up the first taunt because I canceled it into Twister too early, so I didn't actually get the taunt bonus. Alright, so I'm going to let you watch this section first, and I'll explain how it works later. Alright, so what happened there was there's going to be 4 of those stronger grunts in total. So this is the 4th one here, you just blow them up. So 3 of them will spawn after you kill the initial 3 enemies, and they won't spawn at the same time. They spawn in an order. So the first one will spawn behind the stripper pole. So you want to get there as fast as possible and start comboing them. Don't do a big combo that moves you around a lot, because you want to stay in the same spot because they all kind of spawn around the center. Except for the second one. However, while you're comboing the first one, the second one will spawn, and a lot of the time he'll try and attack you. Honestly, like 90% of the time he'll try and attack you. There's only like 1 run where he didn't for me. So while you're comboing the first one, you dodge, and then as you're dodging, the third one will spawn. So once you finish dodging and you land, you double trigger explode, and then you just kill all 3 of them. In that moment, and then you just have these 3 guys to deal with. And these guys are honestly like really easy to deal with. Like the only nuisance about them really is that they have high health, so like just a really easy way to deal with them is just lower 2 of them, the ones that aren't powered up, to like low health, and because when you kill one of them, the other one will power up, Just get them both to low health, and then you just kill them both, and it's just really simple. And the last guy will be powered up, but I mean, he's easy to deal with because he only has, these guys actually only have one attack, and that's the teleport slash. And it's really easy to see coming because there's actually an audio and visual cue whenever they use it. And I mean, I actually interrupt one, and I'll point it out when it happens. And so it's just really easy to find out. Like they just telegraph it really hard. Sometimes though they'll like sneak up on you when they're just on the edge of the camera, and then they do it, and then you're not paying attention, you're not watching, you're not listening, and then you just get hit by it. So right there, that rear back and that roar, that's your visual and audio cue for when they're about to come into teleport and attack you. So it makes it really obvious when they're coming to approach. So you can just dodge it and just punish. It's really simple. So, I mean, I usually don't break all the stuff before the fight begins, because honestly, they'll be broken in the crossfire a lot of the time, or most of them will be, whatever. So this is the area before the Cerberus boss fight. This is where the red orb crystal is, and I'll show you where it is when you get there. Also, there's a secret mission here that you can actually do in your double S run. Some people choose to do that. I don't, however. It's purely because Dante's office is easier, and it's just a lot more simple. It's in that door that I just passed. That's where the red orb crystal is. So for the Cerberus boss fight, I chose to use Agni and Rudra, and also Trickster. Also the shotgun. And that's, well, I mean, I'll explain it as we're fighting. But for the most part, I actually don't really like the Cerberus boss fight. It's a really punishing first boss fight, especially if you're trying to get like into the game, because he has a lot of like really difficult to dodge attacks, and he has like some really, gimmicky stuff that if you don't know how to deal with it, then he'll just blow you up. Also, like, if you don't have the abilities for it, then it's just hard to deal with, like, just in general. And there's also another strategy you can use for this that Devil May Asian did. We'll talk about that in a second once I get through how to dodge all the attacks. So for the Ice Blast, just as you saw, you pair up your jump and your air dash invisibility frames, and you just go right through it, just like this, just like that. And also for the charge, where he charges at you, that move can be really difficult to deal with because it has a huge hitbox, amazing amount of active frames, and he just it's also like surprisingly fast. So he can actually checkmate you a lot of times if you're not ready for it. And if you roll sideways, it'll hit because it's still active, and because it's so huge. If you jump straight up, you better have the timing pretty much perfect, otherwise you're gonna get hit. But if you jump like to the side, then you're pretty much good, just like that. So I try to go for the knockdown here. However, the lock-on just trolled me, basically, because I got the leg and I wanted one of his heads, but whatever. The trick for getting the knockdown is you want to jump above the middle head, and whenever you swing, try and hit all three heads at the same time. And then 2 or 3 hits on all 3 heads, ideally, and then 1 double trigger explosion will get you the knockdown on Dante Must Die mode. It's easier on the other modes, obviously. So for the ice spikes, which I think he's going to use pretty soon, here we go. You dash twice, teleport, and then air dash. I find that works every time, unless you time something wrong. Whatever, that's your fault. And you actually don't really need the air dash at the end a lot of the time, but that's just for extra insurance, because sometimes the last random spike will hit you, and you'll just be sad if you're doing a no damage run. So just for the extra insurance, just always do the air dash. Like, there's no reason not to. When it's not powered up, however, you can just do 2 dashes and a teleport, and then you can just hit them. But if you're not close enough, then, well, you're not close enough, so whatever. Yeah, so for the powder version, just do the same thing of the Ice Blast. So the other strategy you can actually use for this fight, like, those are really, like, 3 main moves you gotta, or, like, all the main moves you gotta be able to dodge. But the other strategy for this fight, it's actually Royal Guard and Spiral. And it's like, you basically just sit at the bottom left corner of the stage, and you just Spiral Guard cancel, Spiral Guard cancel until he dies. And any move that can actually reach you from there, you can actually parry really easily. So it's just like Spiral times N, and he just dies. It's like really simple. Devil May Asian did a really good job of it. XLH Gladiator actually used the same strategy that I'm using now, and in my opinion, he does a better job because he actually gets the knockdown. I don't here. And here comes the last hit. Boom. There you go. So that is the Cerberus boss fight on Dante Must Die mode. No damage. And let's just stick around for the ranking screen, shall we? Alright, let's see all those bullet holes. Hello. Okay, so S for time is, I believe, under 12 or under 10. So it's pretty forgiving. Orbs is actually 12,000, so I just made it. And Stylish is also 5,000, so I just barely made it. And boom, there's your double S. Alright, so make sure you stick around. Make sure you keep it stylish, and I'll catch you later.